Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a quick tutorial on WebData and how to pull it into your app and make it somewhat useful to what we're doing. Also how to style WebData, and then we're going to take that WebData next week and be able to push it back into the internet based on what we want. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we can't use Notepad anymore because due to you need kind of a web server to request web data, and most web data is only available on let's say if we were working on Google server, we made a request from Google, we could get stuff from Google's database, but with PhoneGap we could request web data from any website and then pull it into our application. So this is one of the best features of PhoneGap. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to create a project. So let's get our path for go to your ADT bundle. I'm not sure if everyone has it on their desktop, but you have to go to your PhoneGap folder, then to lib, and then Android, and then bin. Okay, so now you'll be in the folder with all of your projects, and we're going to copy this path, and we're going to our start menu and command prompt, which is CMD in our search bar. Press enter, and then we will type in CD, which is change directory, period forward slash, period forward slash, and that will take us out of our users and out of the Dan folder, which I was in. So we want to be back into our C folder, which is our main computer folder, and then we can navigate from there because that's our root directory. So we're going to change directory again, and then right click and paste our path to our Android bin folder, and we're going to create a project. So once we're here, we are going to type in, I can't make it any bigger, okay, type in create, which is the create command to create a project, and we are going to name it WebData com.webdata space WebData will be the folder, and it will create. Okay, and just to make sure, we see right here in our Android bin folder, and we could close out our command prompt. And now let's go to our Eclipse, which I already have open. So I'm going to X out of my projects, and then the first thing we want to do is right away get our virtual device ready. And let's see if I can pull out the Nexus. Start. Okay, and my Nexus is loading up because, like I said, it takes a good 5 to 10 minutes. And in the meantime, let's go to exit out of that. Let's go to open. Let's see, new project, Android project from existing code. Okay, and browse. And then we're going to go to our PhoneGap folder, lib, Android, bin, and let's go to WebData. Press OK, and we're going to finish. So we should have it right here. Okay, and we should be good to go. The first thing we want to do is go to the folder assets, www, and we want to go to index.html, right click, open with text editor. Okay, and they have all their defaults, so let's get rid of their div class app, and all the way up until the first script tag we're going to delete. Bring this down, and we want to delete their license. And then we want to go to our CSS file, open with text editor, and let's get rid of the license, and let's see, Let's get rid of all their styles except for the body, and we want to just get rid of the background colors, the background gradients, background attachment, font size. Okay, and we should have just height, width, padding 0, margin 0. And some of these defaults are WebKit touch callout. I'll show you what that is in the next tutorial. It pretty much gets rid of the web highlight color when you press on an element. And this WebKit user select, when you hold down your finger on an app, it prevents it from trying to open it in another link. By default, Android and iPhone both do that because it's one of their commands when you hold down on their on the phone. Okay, so now that we have our body, let's create a div called. Actually, let's do this in Notepad+. Okay, so WebData. We're going to create a div called WebData. Position absolute. Top 0, left 0, height 100%, width 100%. Okay, and a div called WebData UL, which will be our UL. And I just want to get rid of the padding, margin, width 100%, and lists. No, we'll do that too. And let's see, WebData ULLI. So let's get rid of our list style, so we don't have bullets. Okay, and that will be some defaults for our app. What we're going to do is just pull in some web data real quick, and let's copy. I'm going to copy and paste it into Eclipse and save. Okay, and then let's add div ID web data, and then ULID web data UL. I'm going to copy and paste this into the HTML file. Okay, and let's indent and save. Okay, so now we have our divs and our UL. From our previous projects, we should have jQuery in either your local storage or one of the other past 3 projects that we've done already. So just find the jQuery.js on your computer or download it at jQuery.com, and I'm going to right click and copy this file, and I am going to put it in my JavaScript folder and paste. And paste, and then we have to link it. So let's link it, and there's a JavaScript at the bottom which is index.js. I'm just going to copy, and I am going to put jQuery.js. Okay, and save. And let's see, let's unlock our phone. Okay, so just to make sure it works, let's do a document.ready function to alert us hello, make sure everything is linked correctly. So let me actually go back here and make your script tag and document.ready function, and what this does is when the body or the document loads, it'll perform a function. So we're going to alert hello, just to make sure everything's in working order. Let's get rid of this space and end our script. Okay, and we're going to copy and paste into Eclipse. I'm going to save, and let's run this and see what happens. Run it, right click the project, run as Android application, and let's see what happens. And as you can see, it's installing for the first time, so it might take a second or two. And it alerted hello, so that means my JavaScript is linked correctly. Okay, so let's get rid of our hello alert, and instead we're going to pull in WebData. Okay, I am going to on Moodle include my script that will help you bring in WebData, and it's posted on Moodle as json.js, and all you do is copy and paste the script and put it into your dan.js, which is my library, and you can just throw it in at the bottom. Okay, so actually, you know what, we're gonna actually just type it out because I want you guys to really understand what's going on. So we're going to write our first custom function today. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is create the function name. We are going to say function WebData. Now this is the name of our function, and whenever we want to call it, we'll just say WebData, and it will perform any actions that we put in here inside the curly braces. Okay, and to get WebData, we're going to use something called JSON, which is JavaScript object notation, which gives you objects and pretty much just a list of results from a database in an object form. Each one's a single object, and it'll keep repeating as many objects as there are until the end of the list. If you're familiar with XML, it's similar to XML. It's just a different form or way of getting web data. It's newer, it's faster. Okay, so we're going to call $get JSON, and some people are doing a weather app, one team, and this is perfect because you're going to use JSON in your project to get web data. So the first parameter it takes is the URL that we're going to use, okay, which is going to be from my website. And actually, if you want to take a look, go to seeker.com/canvas/photo.php, and you're going to see a bunch of bars that are on my app. You're going to see their ID in the database, which we'll get to why we're going to get the ID, the name of the bar, the address, the city, the state, phone number. So these are important because we're going to actually need to know what parameters I have in here, like the name and address are fields that we're going to have to call in our function in a little bit. So just take a look at seeker.com/canvas/photo.php. Obviously, I'm not going to make you make a database with all that stuff. It's a little bit out of the scope of the class, but there's readily available web services like Google, Yahoo, weather.com, and a bunch of free services where you could get data in that format or even YouTube, and bring it into your application. So take a look, okay, and we are going to type in http seeker.com/canvas/photo.php, okay, and that will be our URL, and then comma, because we're done with our URL parameter, and then we're going to say function, which is a function within a function to get our, once we have our JSON data, now our function JSON will, now what we're going to do is called a loop, is it's going to loop through every single object, and right here I think I pulled out 20, so it's not too big. It's going to loop through every object, and it's going to create a list item for us until the loop is done. So this whole thing comes in as one big chunk, and then our next function is going to break it up in each individual object and give us a list view. Okay, so function JSON, and open a curly brace again. And once you have this, I would save it and then just change the URL to get your web data. You don't have to write it once, and then you have it forever. So we have $, each. Now what is this saying? For each item or object, what are we going to do? Now we want our JSON results, which is from my database. The whole array is called the results array. Function I, and if you have taken programming before, I is just an arbitrary number, which is it loops until the end of the data. And we are going to, before anything, we're going to create a variable called variable listDiv equals, and our listDiv will be our UL, our WebData UL. So let's copy and paste. Okay, equals. Now what is this variable listDiv plus our jQuery selector do? Saying our variable listDiv is actually just the target of our WebData UL. That means anytime I use listDiv, any data I want will go into this UL. And the reason we do this is because instead of having to type it down here, I just type in listDiv, and it's much neater. Also, I could use it a couple times in the function if I need to. Not in this case, but there are cases where you'll need that same variable a couple times, and you don't want to type this out because it gets to be too many $signs everywhere. Okay, so what is it saying? Now for each JSON result, what do we want to do? We want to append the data, which is it'll bring it in our list view. So we want to say listDiv, or to make it, just to show you, it would if we didn't create a variable. Oh, and obviously we have to, I'm sorry, put a pound here. WebData UL dot append, which will append data, and we're going to get here in a second. So let's get rid of that and make it listDiv because it's much neater. And we are going to create list items. Okay, and let's do it the right way. ListDiv ID equals. Now inside these double inside the double parentheses, we only could use single parentheses to add an ID or whatever we're doing. Actually, I'm going to bring this back. Okay, so I'm going to open up a single brace because we're going to give it an ID, and now I'm closing the string, and we want data. Oh, I'm sorry, plus data. So what the plus sign does is saying our string plus now a JavaScript variable, and data, which is the JSON object, dot, which is a delimiter, and what part of the data do we want? So let's go back here, and as you can see, every bar on this list has an ID. So we're going to use the IDs later. So I want to make every ID different. I'm going to use the ID from this list. How do I get the ID from every list item? I say the JSON data plus I want the ID part of that data, and that's our data.id. Now plus, and let's open up our string again. And now we closed our ID to have the ID of every ID of the unique ID of the list item. And we are going to have a class equals list bar list, because it's going to be string. We want every class to be the same because we want to apply the same styles to our list. Okay, and we're just going to close our li. Alright, oh, I'm sorry, that would be in single quotes. Okay, and now that we're done with our opening li, now we're going to create a span class, let's say bar name. And what do we want in our bar name? Pretty obvious, we want the bar name. So let's close our string again, and just give me 1 second. And we want plus data dot name, which is the name section in our list. Okay, which right here is Midtown. I don't know if you, here we go. So name is Midtown. So now we want the data dot name in our bar name span class, because we're going to give every name of the list items a certain style in our list item. So we want to be able to separate them. Plus, now let's close our span. Okay, and let's see, what do we want? And let's do, we'll just do one more. Span class equals, I'm sorry, single quotes again. And let's get one more, let's get the address. Let's get the address here. And we are going to say span class address. Okay, and we are going to close our quotes one more time. Plus data dot address plus, and let's close our span, and let's close our li, and that will be it for our appending for each. And then let's close it with, we have to close our parentheses braces, as you can see. Okay, now it'll for each item it will append to this UL as a list item. And let's, oops, okay, close anything, thank God. And now we have that, and let's see, that should be it. And now we just have to close all of these. We have open brackets everywhere, so we have to just close them. And that should be good. So we have our function WebData, and we are going to copy, and let's put it right here underneath our document.ready function. And then when let's just call WebData. And now when the document loads, our WebData function will be called. And we're going to save, and let's run. Let's close this out. And as you can see, that's how we get WebData. Okay. Now we have, obviously it's not styled or anything, but we're going to style it, and we are going to make it in a list. So this is how I do my app, is I just pull in the JSON data, and obviously you can't see the ID, but it's going to, I'm going to show you what we're going to use each particular bar's ID for. Okay, so now that we have a list, let's give it a style. Okay, so let's go to over here in our Eclipse. As we can see, we have a class of bar name. All right, the first thing we want to do is we have an li class bar list. So let's go to, I'm going to go into Notepad, and we are going to go, you guys could go into your CSS. We're going to do some CSS.barList. We're going to give it a height of, let's say, like 60 or 70 pixels. Okay, and let's see, actually let's add in one more thing. We are going to add in, let's see, where is it? Okay, we're gonna add one more thing to make this really cool. I have their icon URL, which is the icon to their picture on the list view. So let's add a picture and make this you know, pretty cool. So let's go back here and let's add before our span class bar name, let's add image source equals, and it's located in, I believe, hold on one second. Okay, it is, where am I? Image source equals http seeker.com/icons/ and now we are going to close our string and plus data.icon, because I have just the regular path in my database, so I don't overclog it with the whole entire URL, and I could just plug the URL in when I do these JSON strings. And we are going to close, and we are going to close our single quotes, which is started over here at our source, and then just close it here. And before we let's get rid of that semicolon. I don't know how that even got in there. And let's give it an image class list image and save. Oh, cancel. I'm going to put this back here, and let's copy and paste the entire function again. Okay, and I'm going to save and run. Let's see what happens, and let's see if it brings our image source in, because we're putting an image tag. If I didn't put an image tag, it would just every icon will come in as text. So we're going to have our app render the image on the fly, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's see if it works. Okay, and we have every image. Obviously these are way too big, but that's why we gave the image a class, so now we could style them. Okay, so let's go to our CSS, and now we have bar list and list image. So let's go to our CSS, and we have our bar list has a height of 70 pixels, so dot list image. We're going to have a height of 60 pixels, and we are going to say float left. Now what floating does is it's somewhat like position absolute, and it breaks the whole flow of the document. So I want it to float left, and I'm just going to give it a margin top of 5 pixels and a margin so it's not hugging the edges of the app. 5 pixels, okay, and that's fine. Now for our bar list, we're going to give it some style, so let's give me a second. And we are going to, I'm just going to copy and paste this. We're going to give it a background color of our Android background color. And let's add some style. Let's give it, now where are you? Okay, and we're going to give it a border bottom of just a little bit lighter of a color, so you're going to see the indentations from the list items, so they have some separation. And let's copy and put in the CSS. Okay, and let's style our two span class address and span class bar name. So c dot bar name dot address and bar name, and we are going to say display block width 100%, and we are going to text indent it. We have a list image of 60 pics. Add the width of 60 pics. Plus it's hanging 5 pixels off the edge, so that's 65 pixels. And let's get another 15 or so pixels of breathing room. So we're going to text indent 80 pixels. And okay. And address, and we're going to copy and paste, and we're going to just text indent it a little bit more to know that it's like a different thought, just for some style. And we're going to, I'm going to copy and paste all 4 of these. I already have bar list and list image, so I'm going to copy and paste everything, save. And we're going to run it and see what happens. And just give it a minute. Okay, and as you can see, this is just out too much, but we have our list, and obviously if you have a phone, compile it on your phone, see that you'll be able to scroll through all the items and whatnot. Let's see, I think we went a little bit too far for the text indent, so we didn't have to go that far. And let's see, let's go back. 70, 65. Okay, and you can't see on my computer, but if you see it on your phone, you'll see that each list item has its like a line of separation, and that's pretty much it. So I just want to show you what we're going to do with our list items. We've went over what the JavaScript term this is. which is a part of picking out something that had. So let's do we are going to say, hold on one second. Okay. So we have, we're going to do a little something different for this click. We're going to say dot bar list, okay, dot bar list dot live, and I'll tell you what live is in a second, click function, and then we're just going to close it. Okay. And what live is if you have any data that doesn't exist at the beginning of the application, meaning that it's web data or it creates on the fly, live just makes sure that is a listener to see if it's been created afterwards. If you don't put live, you won't be able to click any list items from the web or that were created on the fly. So just a word of advice. So make sure that you can even use live for every single click. It doesn't matter. It's the same exact thing, except this is for web data. Okay? Or actually, this will be used for local database stuff too. That's generated dynamically. Okay? So we are going to call this, which is whichever list item we click, that's what this is whatever list item we click, and that we're going to get the attribute of the ID, and we're going to alert. So let's make that a variable. My ID equals, and then we're going to alert my variable of my ID. So we could, and I'll show you and what we're going to get out of it. So let's put it under web data. Okay, and we're going to save and run one more time. And there might be an error somewhere, but I don't think so. Hold on one second. Okay, and I didn't close my parentheses here, so nothing worked. So let's close that parenthesis, and let's copy and repaste to Eclipse and save and run. Okay. And when we click on a list item, each one has an ID that will alert. So what do we use our IDs for? Okay, we have, let's go back to my website. and as you can see here, so we want our ID. So in our particular list, we only have the name of the place and its address, but I also have in my list I have city, state, zip, their video URL, their open and close times, lat and long, what type of place is it, and a bunch of other stuff that I get from my other tables. So when I click on an item, I'm going to tell my JavaScript to just give me a detailed view, and we're going to switch screens, and we're going to just see what extended views we have, just like in my app. So let's bring up my app. And so this is the same concept, and we just click and it'll get the ID, and then it'll just give me an extended view with all the information on the template, and that's pretty much why we need the ID. And we could do this with any data. So this is just like a brief view, and then we click on it, it'll switch screens and give me the full detailed view for the bar with the ID of 3, or this one's 5, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Okay, so that's how we pull in web data, and make sure you save that function, and also our list click function, so we could use this later on for some of our other stuff that we'll be doing at more towards the end of the semester. Okay? Thank you.